Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here, Silver Moon, Harmony Energy Healing. I was talking with a friend of mine, Dan, and he brought up some really cool points because the whole purpose of the videos that I do and the work that I do is for energy healing or spiritual healing, if it's wanted. If it's not, these aren't the videos for you. And he was talking about, well, he had, with his philosophical knowledge, had brought up a point to me that it matters not. Let's see, it matters far more what you think of yourself than what others think of you. Seneca. That's been a really hard one for me, a big challenge on my path. Letting go of that or the perception of that. Because sometimes we perceive things to be something and they're not even that. So I'm just a couple notes here. So he had mentioned how we experience deep emotional pain through others. I don't want to even say from others, but through others. And he said that's a fact, not a complaint. Okay, so when we're talking through things on this life journey where we are all learning, and sometimes we need help, and it's okay to ask for it. And sometimes people are going to put you down. Because remember, sometimes people attack wounds and weaknesses for whatever reason. So he said it was a fact, not a complaint. And then I was responding to him and I said, well, some people will say, okay, so you experience that feeling of woundedness, and where does it come from? We don't even know what gets triggered in us or why sometimes. Why do we feel the way we do? Why do we take it so hard or so deep or so personal? A lot of us probably can't even answer that question. Why does it feel that way? And some people are very empathic on a lot of levels, and maybe they know it and maybe they don't. And then, so he was saying, it's how we perceive it, but so we might experience it through others. And then how long are we going to hold on to that? That's up to us in the work that we do. And sometimes we don't know what to do. It's a level of stuckness. But anyway, and like we forgive, but that's not the problem solver. Isn't always the forgiveness, but it's certainly helpful. Because what he was saying is the problem is with a distorted sense of self. What's implanted, what affects us, and what just how things are affected. And it has to do with programs. Okay, so what do we bring forth from our spiritual DNA and from our physical DNA? Our ancestral wounds, ancestral traumas, okay, that get passed down. And I've talked about, there's many in many cultures over the millennia. And what they do is they hold on to their ancestors' wounds and they keep it alive. They keep talking about it and hanging on to it and being pissed off about it. It needs to be acknowledged, but it also needs to be healed. Because if we're keeping the ancestors' wounds alive, are they able to move forward on the other side? Maybe not. Okay, so stuff is passed down two ways that I understand it in my limited understanding. So it's passed down in the physical DNA, experiences, stuckness, unhealed wounds, fears, phobias, programs. There's all different kinds of ancestral stuff that we might bring in with us, we don't even know. Okay, so when we feel a certain way and people are going, just get over it, your story doesn't matter or something, whatever it is. But like some people say that, just get over it. Okay, everybody does that in their own way. But I'm talking about ancestral things we carry forward that we don't even know. So sometimes we can be proactive and do the work to find out these things. And also, we have many aspects of ourselves. We're complex beings. We have different aspects of our soul called the monad, other parts of ourselves. And how much are we being affected by that? And that's kind of deep, and some people know about that and some people don't. Also, what else was I going to say? Oh, so spiritual DNA, like bringing forward with us sometimes past life traumas. And that's connected to the spiritual and not the physical, okay? And we might bring forth those traumas that are going to come up. So, in other words, let's say someone wasn't in their power for some reason. Something happened to them in their life that power was taken from them for whatever the circumstance might be. So many that they felt like they weren't heard, couldn't speak up. And in this life, maybe they're able to speak their truth. I know that's the case with me. I'm able to speak my truth. Doesn't mean I always feel heard or something, but that's fine. But I can and do speak my truth, which serves me in my calling. Let's see, what else did I... So he was saying poison's very due to the circumstance. And he talked about chessboards, puzzles, and battlefields. And he talked about our stories being mirrors. So our stories are our stories. They are experiences that happen to us that we are working through lifetimes maybe, but in this lifetime. And everyone is doing this. Everyone has the wounds, and it shows in our behavior. It shows in our responses. It shows in our reactions. It shows in what we attack. It shows in what we judge. Even though there's truth in there because of what we've learned, we still have to let other people learn their things their way. We might think that, oh, you're stuck and you're just, that's your fault, that you're weak. We can put people down or we can help people. And it all depends on what your journey is and what you feel called to do and what level of learning and development, and I want to say ascension or vibrational level you're at. Because I think that we go up and down with that. Like sometimes we go down into those lower vibrations where we're questioning things. And I think it's good to question things, but we shouldn't feel down in the dumps and like we're a worthless piece of shite, because that's not true. But he was talking about the stories being in the mirrors. So like, someone might be interested in what you say, and you sharing what you learn, because it might help them because they're going through something similar. And I had that happen with a woman today. That happens all the time. And it's nice when you feel you can be helpful to someone, because knowledge is meant to be shared. So some people might not want to hear anything, especially if they perceive it as negative. Now, any wound that someone is trying to heal and work through could be perceived as a type of negativity. We're working through a lower vibrational thing to try to heal and raise our vibration. And people are going to try to put us down while we're doing that. And it's up to us to find the strength to recognize. You know how they say separating the wheat from the chaff? Someone said that on comment today, but I've written about it many times as well. We can take what someone says and we can find the bits of truth in there that we know might apply to us, and we can let the rest go, because a lot of it doesn't apply to us and it doesn't contain everything that applies to the situation. And when we can recognize that, we don't need to be offended. And I've been coming to that realization more lately too, with the help of people who are putting stuff out there. And I'm like, what do I need to learn from this? And what isn't mine? What isn't mine? Okay, so the mirrors, it's very interesting. So thank you, Dan, for these topics that you shared with me, so that I could do this little video for whatever it's worth. And I know these videos aren't for everyone. And so the only thing I would say is these are never meant to offend. And if someone watches it and just isn't interested or doesn't like it, I would just invite them to not watch them if it's if there's nothing of interest or anything helpful in it. Okay.